Welcome to Laplink Connections. I'm talking today with Jean-Philippe Courtois, Executive Vice President and President of Worldwide Sales, Marketing, and Operations. Big title, but I think an even bigger job. Hi, Jean-Philippe, how are you?
Hi, Thomas. I'm very good. Very nice to connect with you again. It's been a long time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, COVID certainly makes it very strange that we can't meet at CeBIT anymore or, other conferences, apart from the fact that these conferences are kind of gone before. But let's talk about leadership changes. I mean, you are the top sales executive at Microsoft for a long time. You must have logged millions of miles visiting customers, your sales teams all around the world. How did that change with COVID-19? How did you rally the troops without personal meetings? Did your communication style and also the content change?
Yeah, for sure, Thomas. I think like all of us, I had to adjust my style. I used to be the guy traveling the world like crazy. 2/3 of my time during the year I was somewhere in the world, covering 200 countries, and I've been already visiting 120 countries of them last 20 years of my life. So when March happened, has been a big adjustment in my life. What I decided, I found out, just I guess like all of us, is a couple of things, Thomas. One is internally, number one, clearly, I did less and more. What I mean by that, because usually we say, okay, we don't say less and more. We say less is more. Less in the sense of spending less time in my connection with people. When I used to have like one-on-ones of 60 minutes in my directs and so on, I did 30 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes checking in, but a lot more often. So it means that I got into really a pretty broad set of connections, not just my direct reports, extended leadership team. We've got like 14 area vice presidents at Microsoft running all of our geos globally, and hundreds of leaders and thousands of our employees. I did a bunch of all lands for months, week after week, just to stay in touch. So that's about the intensity. On the customer side, the same, by the way. A lot of customer time, in a way, and I actually measure that because I'm pretty data-driven as a person, and I've been adding a lot more customer meetings than in old days when I was traveling the world, because I was having 30 minutes Teams meetings like this one, and you know what Teams meetings work, particularly with the CEOs, CXOs, particularly in that time. You start, number one, with real empathy, meaning what's going on with you, your people, your team, family, really caring, which I think makes sense both internally, externally for your people as well, and then truly getting to the point, because in such crisis times, people are very clear about what priorities are, short term, next 30 days or next 90 days. So I did a lot of that with a lot more intent, and I went into a lot of more, I would say, programmatic ways to drive that across, again, all the regions in the world, so in the US, in Asia, in EMEA, everywhere, and getting a sense of all kind of customers as well, including different industries, in disarray, companies doing better as well, governments, public sector, a lot of health. So that's where I've been adjusting a lot, Thomas. And last point, I would say, after a few months, I realized as well that I need to balance my time, because it could be crazy, insane number of hours on Teams, which many people did as well, by the way. We measure that. And I decided after a couple of months to have 10 minutes kind of actually digital, not even digital, disconnected, for just making a mental pause before doing another couple of hours of meetings in a row, and making sure I also did some gyms every morning, every day in the morning. It was a beautiful thing, because when I was traveling, it was harder. Yeah, I was going to the gyms and so on, but you know the way it works when a plane lands somewhere, you never know you're going to be on time. So I could do that on a much more regular basis, in a way, much better balance life in a way as well.
Yeah, no, very interesting. I mean, I think you have managed remote teams for a long time. I did as well. And we always knew that personal contact and repeated contact, yes, sometimes daily contact with your directs in a remote setting, is the normal thing to do. So now with COVID, it catches up to many things. But one point I find very interesting, I think, and perhaps that is what you meant, is perhaps that also the direct communication with your customer are much more personal.
Yes.
Yeah, much more passionate. I think that is a very interesting thing, because if we meet formally, we sit down and it's all formal and we have everybody with us. But here we can really do a personal, and again, yes, you ask about the personal questions. Now, many companies, Microsoft, the same way, kind of foresee that there is more remote home office, that there's less business travel. Do you foresee that sales will suffer from less personal contact if it's minimized or reduced?
To be honest, Thomas, and I would say among the tech companies, we are all well belong to the tech sector. We are kind of privileged, I would say, across many industries in the world, right? I mean, clearly, we've seen a lot more intensity on digital. And Satya said, we've seen in 90 days, we've seen more on digital transformation than the last 3-5 years in a row, a lot more. Yeah. And we saw 4 phenomena happening across the business, really. One is really about remote everywhere. We got hundreds of millions of people working on Teams now. In a matter of a few weeks, literally, it grew dramatically. And people starting to learn how to make sense of such digital tools, by the way, that was available before, but they didn't necessarily use it. Same with, same as well with kind of a digital, a virtual desktop as well, Azure workloads on the cloud as well. So remote everywhere in a big way. Digitize everything, meaning from pre-sales to selling precisely. Companies like IKEA selling digital kitchens using our Power Platform to innovate on the front line a digital way, 100%. I saw insurance companies doing the same as well in the business, when before they would tell you, I would never use digital to approach a customer. Well, guess what? No, they do. So that's the second thing. The third one is empowering first-line workers. I think all of us realize, and still do today, that our life actually was relying a lot on hundreds of millions of people in the world taking care of the day-to-day logistics of course, these days, no vaccines. Before it was the testing, or it was even just taking care of the patient. Same on logistics for the food. Same on basically critical government processes happening at the time. So those are first-line workers, and we've been enabling a lot of them to use, again, those low-code, no-code platforms, Teams, Power Apps, and more, to really address that last mile of innovation that they need to crack in a day, in a couple of days, not in the 6 months of a project. And the fourth trend, which has been also super beneficial, is really digital transformation at scale and fast. It's been a time where we've seen supply chain being challenged like never before, for sure, in terms of resiliency, in terms of simulation, rerouting, the new normal for those companies. If you can call that new normal, it's actually not. and we've done that across many industries. As a result, we just announced a couple of industry clouds, like Cloud for Healthcare and Cloud for Retail, which is really a set of architectural, basically more than guidance, but also building blocks on Azure, Dynamics, 365, to enable all those ecosystems to use the cloud at large scale. So we've done a lot of that, and we see still a lot more going on right now.
Yeah, so I mean, certainly you are in the real bubble of digitalization, modern desktop, and so on. So tech is certainly kind of a winner in a very strange world, but I think it's to the benefit, as you say, to the companies who can digitalize a lot. Yeah. I mean, we do our little part in that, where we try to support Microsoft in migrating old desktops to new desktops now remotely. So we can actually have the IT guy not go to the home. We can do that remotely, do remote migrations very securely, and so helping the companies by doing that. Now, if we go forward and say, well, COVID is behind us, perhaps not 100%, but it's behind us. Do you think that your leadership style will change? Are we going back to normal like before COVID? Or are you saying, well, now perhaps I only will travel half as much because I noticed how easy it is to communicate, and I only will do certain trips?
Yeah, for sure. I think, Thomas, I mean, all of us are thinking through what's going to be next in the way we're going to work as a company, as an organization, myself as a leader. You're right, and I talk to many customers the same. They think about the new hybrid workplace, the new way of working in a hybrid mode. And for sure, in my function, my capacity as an example, I know I'm going to have a mix of travels, because at the end of the day, by the way, human touch is not replaceable, okay? Being in the same room with you will have a different chemistry, I'm sure, in terms of some of the exchanges, not just the physical cues and others, that are not the same exactly in digital meetings. And I love the digital meetings, but I would say, well, there's something that needs to be still there. Number two, I think something I certainly learned a lot over the past years as our company went into and still going through a massive transformation to become a cloud-first, AI-first company, coming from a pure software background that you know well. And in that transformation remit, I've certainly learned how to change my leadership style. From what used to be, I would say, I'm going to be more black and white, like command control, to run a business at scale across all those countries with like a big set of processes, right, that we run like a Swiss clock, into what I would call more of a coach-like leader, meaning really be a lot more thoughtful about three things that I try to do: coach, care, and model. Coach in a sense really of being like a coach, meaning opening others, my team members and others, to come back with the best of their resources and create the best environment so that they bring the solution. Because they'll be smart as I am, honestly, and I don't need to spend all that time fixing issues that people are much smarter at fixing it. Then care, because guess what? If you don't care in an authentic way, you cannot fake it. And really care for the way you balance wellness, productivity, taking care of your people as much as you take care of your family, of course, in a way that really is lasting so that people can make sense of that incredible time we are going through, is not going to work. And the third attribute is model, because if you don't role model what you say as a company, you can have nice slides, nice values, nice things. If you don't behave like that, people don't believe you. They will not follow you. So those are the things I'm trying to practice. Certainly not perfect at all, but I'm much more intentional in the way I do things, in the way I get involved, in the way I give feedback, in a way I made myself available to teams and members of the organization.
Yeah, no, it's very insightful. I totally agree that the human touch is very important, and I think there's also an aspect that where the digital tools might not still live up to it. Is let's say if you're in a negotiation with 10 people, like lawyers, not perhaps you and me, but lawyers. If they give a presentation, they need to see the body language of all the ones in the room, not the one that the camera is focused on.
Exactly.
Or when you give a speech, not in the dark, but if you see people, you want to react to the ones, and that's much harder on the screen. But it is probably correct to say we learn with the digitalized world now to be much more effective, and we have to bring back the personalization a little bit and the compassion. And and have a new hybrid model that is even better than what we had before.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, when I talk with people and they said, "Oh, we talk so much more with our people now digitally," I say, "Well, that only means that we didn't do it in the past. We were really bad in the past in doing that."
That's right.
So, if you just have a couple tips for executives, or for young executives or smaller companies, what were the top things you would highlight? What's important right now?
Thomas, what I would say is, again, building on that kind of coach-like mindset, I would say, be lazy. That sounds like, oh, okay, be lazy. Be lazy in the sense of don't try to solve everyone's problems and issues. You could say that's kind of the 101 of a manager, of a leader, right? Not to take all the monkeys on your shoulders. It really means really be resourceful in the sense that you want to enable others at large scale organization, from the smallest team to the largest one, to find the best solution by themselves, because the more they are closer to the issues, the smarter they're going to be, for sure. Number two, be curious. I love learning in every meeting I have. With you right now, with another customer after that, with my team members. I kind of do a mental, actually digital note every day on what did I learn today, which I didn't know about. It could be a couple of bullet points, but being curious in a real authentic way, meaning asking more precise questions to learn more about the issues, the opportunities you may have as a company. And I would say do that often. Not like once a year when you do your assessment of people, No, it doesn't matter. It's real-time coaching anytime. It could be 2 minutes. It doesn't need to be a long pitch, blah, blah, blah. But it matters a lot. And I found that when I'm intentional and mentally here and now with the people, not checking other things, email threads, IMs, and tons of solicitations we have, it makes a big difference in the impact you have on the long run on people. Because we all know we are into a marathon. It's not a sprint. People realize that, I think, after the last 3, 6, 9 months now. And we need to be really thoughtful, mindful about the way we lead differently moving forward.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all thought it was 4 weeks to 6 weeks, and it blows over. And, little did we know. Yeah, I think the curiosity and learning from mistake was always a trademark for Microsoft. I think that is what we all learned, in a better world. I mean, in a sense, you are the total opposite from Elon Musk, who says, well, if you don't do it, I'll do it for you. Yeah, and he takes on all the monkeys.
Yeah, I know.
No, I think I totally agree with you. That's great advice. Well, Jean-Philippe, it was great to see you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, and good luck for Microsoft and your family over the next months and years. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Thomas. It's really great to be with you again today, and all the best to you and your team members as well, and your customers. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.